State of Tennessee versus Henandez Govan, count one. We, the jury, found the defendant Henandez Govan not guilty in count one of the indictment. State of Tennessee versus Henandez Govan, count two. We, the jury, found the defendant Henandez Govan not guilty in count two of the indictment. Ma'am?
Court in session.
Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Carcini.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Hello there. Today, the young Dolph trial, murder trial is over. And because it's over, a lot of people could blow a sigh of relief for it being over. Others still have to go through the process of identifications, identifying that there's a problem, a new problem has arisen, as Henandez Govan was found not guilty. And it made you question what all was happening in the trial. Now, this was a trial I didn't follow that much as I followed the P. Diddy trial, where I was able to follow it from beginning to end. But what I found out was there were a lot of inconsistencies in the Tennessee government and how they was viewing this case. The case was going in a way that wasn't sitting proper with a lot of people. And as this evidence was being presented by their side, a lot of it seemed to have zero connection with Henandez Govan, except for the testimony of basically guys who would say anything to get a reduced sentence or whatever. The more and more this kept pouring on, the less and less it felt like there was a problem. Now, a lot of people believe that he's guilty, but if you look at the evidence and saying he was the mastermind behind it, none of the evidence points to that. A lot of the evidence they brought, the government was bringing in stuff that was never, when they had to submit their evidence, it was never there. They tried to submit some piece of paper or something. It was so wrong. It was like, my goodness, why are they doing this? And I've seen this kind of happen in the Diddy trial, where they just keep doing this prosecuting, and it was a losing battle. And I was just glad the jury saw through it, because I was shocked that they did that. There was a lot of things. If you go back and look at this evidence in this trial, they were, for some rhyme or reason, was making this guy the mastermind and involving him in the sweep. You know, at first glance, we on the outside looking in, we think he's guilty. He looked more guilty than anybody else. But it's all about the evidence in the actual trial. Mm-hmm. You said the jury was scared. Why would the jury be scared? See, this is what happens. You don't follow the trial, then when the results come out, you say stuff like that. They were scared. I don't believe the jury was scared whatsoever. I just believe that based on the evidence I just saw and the lack of convicting him, all they had was a word from a snitch. They have no phone records that connects him to anything. Well, they told him they were going to do it, and he gave them the instructions to do it. There's nothing that connects him to this. There was nothing there. I checked. There's nothing there.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you reached a verdict?
Yes.
State of Tennessee versus Henandez Govan, count 1. We, the jury, found the defendant Henandez Govan not guilty in count 1 of the indictment. State of Tennessee versus Henandez Govan, count 2. We, the jury, found the defendant Henandez Govan not guilty in count 2 of the indictment. Ma'am,
Court's in session.
ma'am. Ms. Johnson, is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict? Is this your verdict?
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I want to thank you for your service this week. You've done exactly what the court asked you to do, which was to sit, listen to all the proof, and come to a decision. You are excused. Thank you.
Jury's excused. Thank you.
Excuse me?
Go ahead, John. Court's still in session.
Mr. Henandez Govan, a jury of your peers having found you not guilty of all charges, sir, you are free to go.
Thank you so much, Judge.
You're welcome. You may come off the record.
Court's in recess.
I need judgment. Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. Judge sheets.
I need judgment sheets as to each count. Get the clerk to help her do record. Yeah, but Mr. Your local counsel can help you do that.
Durham.
Mr. Durham, I'm
Durham.
sorry, Mr. Durham.
Now, you just saw it for yourself. Listen to the closing arguments made by the lawyer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time this past week. You've been stuck in a hotel room with no TV, no internet, just to make sure that your mind doesn't get jaded with regards to anything you see on the press. We talked about first appearances. I also talked to you about the fragility of the criminal justice system, and I hope you can see why now. I don't know anything about the 16 of you, which 12 are going to be the actual jurors. Mr. Govan doesn't know. I don't know if you have kids, if you're rich, if you're poor, if you live in Orange Mountain, if you live in a nice part of Nashville, Memphis. You see that I'm from Atlanta. But all I have is trust in you because you said you are peers to Mr. Govan. Mr. Govan, stand up. Come sit at the table and let them see you. It's time you're not marginalized anymore. Sit there while I talk. The fragility of the system is solely based on you. I don't know in what world the prosecution is living in this case, because unless they were watching something in the multiverse where other witnesses were saying perfect things, I don't know why we're here. You all should be embarrassed as a community that your district attorney thinks this evidence is sufficient to take a man's life for first-degree murder. You should be embarrassed that this is the person you voted for that brings this type of case. Just embarrassed. Many of you said you had a problem with the criminal justice system because too many people go free or they get bond. What they don't tell you, what the government doesn't tell you, and the press doesn't cover, is this is what happens when you don't have an advocate that knows what the hell they're doing, checks all the records, fights for you, and shows you that he didn't do it. That's just another black man that is of no value from Orange Mound, that's poor, that has never had a voice in his life. I'm fixing that. My team is fixing that. He is indigent, he is poor, and he deserves better than he's gotten in this case. Sergeant Browning, who's the biggest liar that I'm going to go through with you, says we can't kidnap people and bring them in for questioning. What did Angela Arnold tell you? They threatened to have me arrested, be involved in this case if I didn't talk to them. We went to the airport and we figured he was going to assert his rights, so okay. What about the second guy, Mr. Sears? His lawyer said he wasn't in town. When you talk about accessories and all this other stuff that the judge has told you about, how about the people that helped hide them? How about the people that helped give him new clothes? How about the people that gave him medical treatment, assuming they were even shot? Because you know what? I don't even know if he was shot, and I don't even know for a fact if that was the Mercedes used in the murder. Because why? There was no blood in the Mercedes. Had there been any blood, to back up what Cornelius was saying, they would have plastered it front and center to you. Their own lieutenant from crime scene that they did not call tells you no one wiped that car with bleach because luminol or the other star thing, whatever it was, would show that. And if somebody said, I poured bleach on a towel and I wiped that car down, they would be lying. I don't know what world we live in. None of you would buy a pack of gum based on the word of Cornelius Smith. You wouldn't do it because he's a lying piece of so-and-so that will do anything. Lie to his pretend grandmother, his family, his girlfriend, anybody. And I'm going to prove it to you if we're going to go through a few more slides. And Detective Browning may even be worse because that's just pure evil, trying to put people in prison based on shaded evidence. Dabney told you the truth, that we didn't do all this other stuff that we should have done. We didn't get around to it, was his quote. He wasn't happy about it, but he told me the truth. The other guy couldn't answer a yes-no question. It was always dodge and deflect, which is what they're taught to do as part of their training when they go and come and testify. These are the people that are policing your streets. You should be ashamed. The only crime that's being committed here today is in this courtroom. It's been committed for the last 3 days. This poor man will never get his life back because of what's happening. He's been threatened because they all think he's involved in the young Dolph murder. Everybody loves Dolph. Dolph has been threatened for years. He moved away from Memphis 5 years ago. He had 3 old bullets in his body from other times he'd been shot at by people, being in Charlotte, being in Los Angeles. Everybody knew there was a price on his head. There is no plan. There is no plan. I tell you why? Because if I made a plan and I go back to my house across the street with a murder car, are you freaking kidding me? And then they go ahead and call around to see where can we go to get changed. We are across the street from the guy that planned the murder. We don't go to his house to change clothes, but we ride around town until somebody picks up the phone, as you see from the records, and we go to 2-lane while we're bleeding and doing everything else. Have you seen a single photo of Angela Arnold's car, the Mercedes, or anything that had a drop of blood in it, as if they said? Cornelius is a pathological liar. I don't even know if he got shot on that day, because you have to ask yourself, there is a bullet lodged in his shoulder, as he told you. For a freaking month, he didn't get infected. He didn't have a problem. He just put some bandages on it and it was okay. Please, for the love of God, This is insane that I even have to talk to you about this. If this is what is sufficient evidence for first-degree murder, we're all in trouble because you're going to be next. Assault, all these charges they gave you, there's 15 different ways they're trying to convict this guy. I didn't assault anybody. He didn't assault anybody. He didn't aggravated assault anybody. He didn't solicit anybody. He didn't facilitate anybody. He didn't act out whatever, ate anybody. It didn't happen. All the text messages, all the phones, everything that showed you. Have you seen one single message from Justin Johnson or Cornelius Smith that says, hey, bro, let's go shoot somebody? I gave you tons of messages over their objection where Justin Johnson is talking to other people, talking about killing people. They weren't discreet about it. Where is a single message to Govan from any of these people over the course of 4 months that says, we're going to do this? Can we get your permission? We're going to give you $10,000 or $38,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 or $1.5 million. You think if they would have had it, they wouldn't have shown it to you? They know the truth is the text messages are only about music because he's friends with Justin. I'm sorry, Justin's not a nice guy. They all live in the same neighborhood. They've all known each other. Just because you have, quote, communication doesn't mean you're in the conspiracy to kill someone. Cornelius. Let's go over the slides. This will speak for itself, and I'll let you think about it because I've hammered the point about didn't prove it. I don't need you to say he didn't do it if you don't want to, but they absolutely, for God's sakes, didn't prove it. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so, excuse me. So you see this, what the government says? Angel Lawrence won't? Absolutely. This is Star Defense Exhibit number 1. This C bra, assuming C is Cornelius. Send me bra number so I can get my phone, right? He needs to get his phone. Next slide. Quez's number. Guess what he told you is the one honest thing he said. His brother's freaking name is Marquez Smith. They call him Quez. His brother is the one that got the phone at best. You know why? Because they had TBI Garner up here. They asked him to do location data analysis on the phone, right? You guys remember all that? And they did it solely for Cornelius' phone, and they did it for Justin's phone. But yet, they didn't show you any location analysis. All they have to do is say, it's in that general area, this is where the tower's being, because calls are being made. Where was this call from? Where was his brother Quez? They just BS you constantly, and here I am fighting for this man's life. He is your peer. You need to be here protecting him from this. This is the crime. Next slide. So I'll just go over a few things on Cornelius Smith. I think that was pretty obvious from his statement. Go ahead, Robert. I think all this is obvious. You got a sociopath on your hands that's out there on his daughter's birthday. Is he intoxicated? He's not intoxicated. Just ask the prosecutor to tell you a straight answer, honestly. Do you even think the prosecution would take advice from Cornelius Smith on anything? But it's good enough for this poor man's life. My dad used to tell me, you know, if somebody's honest, would you loan them money? Raise your hands if you're going to loan Cornelius money. Because that's the crux of the whole case. And a bunch of BS cell phone records that don't tell you anything. Because they didn't do the location analysis. They can't give you a single text message that says we agree to do anything. And we know it was at least 4 months between the so-called meeting between multiple shootings that Cornelius did and when Justin went out. Next. And if you're not biblical, I'm sorry, but growing up that way, it's just used to be told the truth never changes. You don't need to remember it. You don't need to practice. While we're meeting with prosecutors and the lawyer just now report, I don't want a deal. I'm just here out of the goodness of my heart. I'm going to get a mandatory life sentence. Insane. Next. We also showed you the letters from Cornelius that he sent to his sister saying, I've got that lawyer that you paid for. It's this guy's lawyer, and that guy cooperated against somebody else and walked from a murder. That's what you have in black and white in Cornelius' own handwriting. And that is what all of you said when I said, what would you do to avoid a life sentence? You guys said, probably anything. All right. We know this to be true. Next. And we know all this to be true. Next. And we all know this didn't happen. It just didn't happen. His story just didn't happen. And both he and Angela said it. Because, remember, he had talked to his family to go see Angela between the 14th of December, her first statement, when she didn't know nothing about nothing, and the 17th of December, when she's decided. And note how they have to prompt her to ask, could it be somebody with the name Hugh? And note, they had to ask her, didn't he forget something? Didn't he tell you something that he might have forgotten or something that he needed? They had to prompt her. This is 30 days after that. You don't have to remember the truth. This was the biggest day in somebody's life, you would think. I just killed Dolph. I'm running around, and she can't remember who the guy was that picked up the stuff at pressure room. Oh, shocker. There's a few cameras at pressure room. They had the absurdity to tell you, well, do you know how long the camera might be working or how long it records? You know how to find that out? Maybe go there and ask them. We've had Ring cameras and other things like that for a decade. It always goes to the cloud, and most likely it's going to be preserved for a year or so, which is what most businesses would do, especially in a dangerous part of town. And guess what? You have those crazy MPD cameras everywhere. If you drive home, you'll see them. It's got the little blue thing coming out of it. I've showed you some of those from right around the area. Nobody checked any of them. You don't have to take my word for any of it, because everything I'm going to tell you is going to be backed up by independent evidence. You don't.
Now, what he just said was very telling. It was backed up by evidence. They didn't even check the cameras, all the cameras that they had. The evidence that they provided in this trial, none of it was evidence. They had no evidence to back up anything to prove it. Y'all saying he's involved. Y'all say he knew Juke. He knew the dudes. Just because you know somebody don't mean you did it. And if you did have anything to do with it, there's no evidence connecting him. And it's very strange because they have the messages from these young boys who did this horrible act. They have their messages going in and out to everybody else talking about, smoke this dude, smoke. He get this. But yet, to him, there's no messages ever about anything. But the consensus is there's nothing he can do.
There you see Henandez Govan's reaction. But now let's get some reaction from his attorney who's speaking right now. Let's go to that live.
He's got to move.
I'm always on edge because there's cases I thought I would have won easily, and the jurors just get swayed by the publicity and the media. It's been so one-sided, calling him a mastermind. The press has been going crazy because only the DA talks. And that's the problem with our system. It's because they make such a good first impression saying everybody's guilty that it's hard to get a fair trial. But thank God we got jurors. They took hundreds of pages of notes, and it didn't take them, 2 hours to figure out this was all garbage.
And they virtually echoed everything that he said in closing. And they were very critical that anyone could be locked up that long and didn't have the resources to defend themselves. The jurors said that. They echoed that. And the guy said, I am offended. I'm offended by this. And he said, and he was disappointed in Mulroy. And that's your elected official. That's my elected official because I live here. And you just go and do something.
You called that testimony with Jesse Browning BS a joke. Why?
because it was. Half the stuff was just made up within a couple of days of this stuff, and they gave us this mystical receipt that's never been in any of the police reports. The jurors didn't buy it for a second. The lead investigator, Dabney, was incredibly honest when he said these are the mistakes that we made. And then you call up somebody that's willing to do or say anything to clean up the case to get a conviction. You saw how they shaded off the phone records. Where are the text messages? Where's any of that from Justin Johnson to our client saying we're going to do something? I presented hundreds of text messages where he's threatening people, trying to go shoot people with others. Govan was never in on any of it. And the fact that you're still asking me these questions, I find offensive because it didn't happen. You would never take anything you heard in that courtroom for any decision you would make in your life that has any significance. You would laugh at me if I said, believe those guys. So let's just keep it real. This is all garbage, and I'm grateful that he's out, and I'm sorry in the world that he had to do 9 months in prison. And I'm just grateful his fiance called me, and we have the resources to help poor people.
You were very passionate in your closing arguments about, about Govan being just a man from Orange Mound up against the system. Kind of talk about where that passion came from.
When I go to 201 and look at the people that are in there, I know a lot of people do wrong, and I understand that, and I don't want violence in the streets because I live, in towns as well. But it's just so wrong. If I can see it, there's no way a jury couldn't see it. And that's why it took, 2 hours to figure that out. I mean, obviously it would have probably been quicker had they not had to go through the evidence and do their job. But the fact that anybody in the press would say, oh, it was this or it was that, it was clearly flagrant. And I wish we'd be reported as this is what your justice is in Memphis. So if you're black and poor, you got a problem.
So this was
Mr. Govan, how do you feel?
Mr. Rohr, this is pro bono. I was unclear with
Right.
that. Yeah. Oh, it was.
To finally have this stress taken off your shoulders.
Yeah, and have my life back.
What's the first thing you plan to do?
Go hug my son.
Mr. Govan, you haven't smiled all this week, but obviously you have a lot to smile about. Just tell me just about what you're feeling in right now.
Like I said, it's kind of hard to explain the feeling of getting your life back, just from 12 people, so I'm just blessed, and I'm just ready to go see my son.
What was going through your head when you were waiting for the verdict this morning?
Nervousness, of course, it's natural, but I got a team around me that was very confident and supportive, so without them, it wouldn't be no me. I just want to thank again, Manny, Robert, Haley, Beth, Handel, Trail, Leanne, just everybody that played a part in proving my innocence.
You heard your attorney say if you're black and poor in Memphis, this is what happens. What would be your words of advice?
Leave Memphis,
Do you plan on leaving Memphis, sir?
of course.
Was there any point throughout the week where you're like, you know what, I'm still nervous, prior to the verdict? Was there any point where it's like, I don't know which way it's going to go?
I've been nervous for 4 years.
How does it feel to be at the end of this 4-year journey that you've been on?
It feels great. Just feel like I've been born again. I get a chance to restart my life and do some positive things.
Do you think that this verdict will change how the court system is working here in Memphis?
As corrupt as this system is, I doubt it.
Mr. Aurora, do you think this verdict will change anything with the court system here in Memphis?
I'm not here from Memphis, but if this is a microcosm of what's going on, then you should all be worried. And maybe we should be digging into these things and figuring out why so many people are in jail, why we keep them without bond and force them into pleas and things of that nature, and why investigations aren't always there. Thankfully, my office has the resources to help these types of people and can spend the money to do it. I can only imagine how hard it is for public defenders with their cases or other appointed lawyers that couldn't do this, and how many people shouldn't be in prison.
Oh, back in December, is that the reason? Obviously, you advised your client not to take that plea.
That's always his decision. I don't advise him to do anything. They always say, what would I do? And I'm like, I'm not serving the time, so I have no idea. I can't go through that stress. You can't duplicate that. I mean, I love the man. I believed in him. That's why I took the case, and we fought like hell for it. I'm grateful that the staff stayed with me. I yelled at them a lot this week and put a lot of pressure on them. We worked long nights for the last few months. We filed, I don't know how many, 24 motions, most of which were granted, which never happens, but it was so obvious we were right. And yet still we have a case. The government just can't ever admit that maybe there isn't anything here. They're just prosecute, and then blame the jury if it doesn't go your way.
See? Blame the jury if it doesn't go your way. What does everybody do? Soon as this trial went, they blamed the jury. The jury was scared. We heard it right here. Jury was scared. It's not the jury's fault. There's no evidence and people not doing their job. If you look at this case and you look at the evidence, you're going to go, what? It shocks you. But most of us don't follow the case. I had to go back to look at this stuff and said, oh my gosh, they have nothing. They had nothing on them, y'all, for real. It's completely nothing in this case. This case was a nothing burger from start to finish. For him, when they start disproving all of this stuff and they start presenting video footage, when they didn't have any blood DNA in the car, they didn't have any of that. Somebody is shot, there's going to be blood. Well, they wiped it down. Well, there would have been luminol from the bleach in the car. Where was that? And they wiped the car down that much? No, he can't be tried again. Well, they say, but I mean, you got to leave immediately. They already got the two shooters that did it. A lot of people are not really privy to how court systems work or evidence. They just go off to what was in the notion. So the streets will still think he's guilty no matter what the evidence just showed. They don't care. You know him. You was his boy. You could get it too. You're going to be guilty by association. I mean, It's
My name is.
it is horrific what happened to Dolph. Nobody should ever have to experience going through something like that. And I could see if this was somebody that had somebody in your family hurt, had somebody smoked or taken out, and this was payback or something like that. Like this wasn't even about that. This one death caused about a spiral wave of about 30 to 40 lives gone. Everybody that you saw from this case, dead or in jail, dead or in jail, dead or in jail. And who's sitting over there benefiting? The system. They don't care. They don't care about you. You just another number in the slot. A stupid beef over ego and pride. Led to something so disastrous that it's not even going to make sense in the end. How many lives got shattered? How many families destroyed? Yo Gotti owns the police department. If he owned the police department, then hell, why did the case go the way it did? If he owned the police department, he'll come in and out of Memphis. He's staying out of Memphis. But look at what it does. This is an example for young artists out there in the game who are involved in this beef thing with everybody and sets and all that. Look at this and learn from Dolph's situation. This is tragic. And it's tragic because no one could see what's right in front of their face. How disastrous this is as a race, as people, the way we move, the way we operate amongst each other. It's disastrous. It's uncalled for. And you get nothing out of it. Even the person who's living is living a living death. They forever got to look over their shoulders for the rest of their life. they have to forever be looked at in a villainous way. It was a very terrible situation that ego and feelings can get you and destroy your entire family, their families. Dolph family ain't the only one that got hurt. Everybody was hurt. It affected everybody. And you saw a lot of people go. People tried to make fun of his passing, and that person lost their life. It just was, it was so stupid. And people need to learn from this. This is not something that you brag about. This is not something that you make jokes about or insinuate what happened. This is a serious situation. Families, there's about 30, 40 people, families just crushed. Because see, we move on. We'll go on to with our lives and we'll go on to the next thing. But these people are gone forever. Their kids, their family got to grow up missing them. Well, it's black on black because they live there. It's just too much violence, period, in that area. But it was based off of this incident. Like these crew and this ego and all of this nonsense. Once it's built up around that, that's only going to lead to that. It's a destruction. There is no revenge. You hit somebody, they hit you. You hit them, they hit you. There is no revenge. It's a death cycle. Everybody wants to get a lick back. They're going to want to try to put an end to this. And this was supposed to do that. And now this person has to leave Memphis immediately because there's no way he could stay in Memphis. And, you know, it is what it is. Yes, the government, from what they turned over, that receipt, the car, the evidence, none of it matched. None of it made sense. They swooped him up in a quick investigation to try to wrap things up swiftly. They just grabbed him up and just said, hey, you his right-hand man. We got him. He set it up. And They just roped him in and they didn't have any evidence to back it up. They arrested him, then tried to go get evidence. And that's not really how you do it. So he spent 9 months in jail. And man, I can't even remember when that happened. You know. It's sad, B. It's really sad. And at the end of the day, people are going to be one way or another. I was not one to be looked at as happy or unhappy about a situation. I just knew that yeah, it's a lot of people on YouTube, and I don't even know why it's allowed. These people go around making money off of content of black people getting killed. It's bizarre to me. You know, they'd be, oh, look, they finna smoke this dude. And I'm just like, that stuff should be pulled off the internet. It should be pulled off the internet. That's not content. You know what I'm saying? It's the most foolish thing I've ever seen somebody do. You know, it's just very disappointing to see. Yeah, I know. Yeah, one of his chicks, 6'9" girls is gone. I read about that. But I believe that had something to do with something else. It's the reason she gone. You know, a lot of these women have sketchy histories. So you got to be careful who you're dealing with. Yeah. So that's all I really wanted to say about it, man, because I just wanted to let y'all know about the trial and how things go. And some people still gonna believe he's guilty. Others won't. It's just how it is. Other people are still mad, you know, just period. And it's just pain. You know, I don't agree with what that guy does for content. And that's just how I see it. And I'm glad I don't do that ever. So y'all be safe. I'm out, and I'm out.